Today we're talking about mealworms. Alright, this is a tutorial kind of, but mostly just me talking about how I haven't really got to grips with live food for tarantulas yet, and the other day I was watching a cool video by Predatororprey online, a guy called Gar Reese, I think his name is, showing off how to breed mealworms and have a captive colony. And it got my mind thinking, because I've been looking at maybe getting a W roach colony and maybe getting a Turkish red runner colony, so like grim cockroaches, but not a huge popular thing with my family. So mealworms seems like an obvious starting point. So the other day I found myself in Pets at Home, which is a chain of pet stores in the UK. And you can normally buy 5 boxes of crickets or locusts or mealworms or whatever for cheaper than you can buy one individually, as in the per box price, obviously. And so it was like 5 for £10, but actually all the mealworm were on the cusp of pupating, so I managed to get 5 boxes for £5, which was a total bargain. And I thought to myself, yeah, I can do that. I'll set up a colony. It'll be great. So last Sunday, me and my son spent a whole afternoon basically taking all of these pots, sieving out all the poo, putting in new food for them. So we were using value oatmeal, so putting food back into the mealworm pots. But before we did that, we had to pick out all of the pupae and put them into a separate tank for breeding. So it's a few days on now, and it's all looking good. I'm giving the mealworm, in addition to the oatmeal they've already got, they're having cauliflower, stems and celery, and any other offcuts of vegetable. They're all doing great, and the tarantulas are eating them, and I've got thousands of them. So I'm sure you guys are totally familiar with mealworms. Anyone who's had reptiles or kept tarantulas or mantises or anything that eats other insects will know what a mealworm is. So the Latin name for this beetle species is Tenebrio molitor, as I understand it. Basically you've got the mealworms which hatch from the eggs, so they're pretty standard. This is a big one. These are all about to pupate. Eventually they get big enough to turn into pupae, so that is basically what the pupae looks like. And then they hatch out into beetles, and the speed with which that happens is all to do with temperature and food availability. So if you feed them up quick, and they get to pupate quick, and they're in a hot temperature, then you get beetles pretty fast. And then I guess those beetles get to mating, and you have lots of eggs, and you repeat the process. And as long as you keep providing food and cleaning them out, you get loads of mealworms. Here's a quick look at one of the beetles that has recently emerged. It's still very light in colour. The older ones are much darker. I will have to check though that I got the Latin name correct, because the Tenebrio molitor that I've seen online look to be black beetles, whereas these are very brown. Anyway, as you can see, I have a lot of pupae in here, so it's going to be crawling with beetles at some point soon. Fun times! You didn't really think I'd talk about mealworms and then not show you one of my animals eating one, did you? Check it out. So that's about it on the mealworm hatchery. I'm interested to hear from you guys though, because I am looking at getting maybe W roaches or Turkish red runners or something similar. So if you have experiences with different types of roach and which ones are the best to keep and the easiest to keep, and in terms of my time availability, which ones can go the longest without food, that would be useful to know. So any tips you have about roaches, I'm all ears, and thanks very much in advance for your help. Cheers.